Jesus is the fountain of life. And then when you come around, Jesus loves you unconditionally. And then you come around, it's like, BAM! I can't see, my window's too dirty. I'm like, ooh, then you come around, and guess what you see? You see St. George. Yes, you do. You see St. George right there? St. George. You know, the thing is, when you see this, play this house of worship, I'm like, you see the spirit. Like, you can feel, like, the moment you pull into this parking lot, immediately the spirit draws you in. So then, of course, this is where it draws me right over here, because this is my tray. So I'm like, you have Mother Mary, you have Mother Guadalupe, you know, you have your different women powers that we as Catholic mothers, because, like, you know, they're all Chaldean are bad. So I'm like, my language is sometimes, you know, not great, because I've been victimized. So, and I believe in, you have the right to have an education, you have the right to keep your chastity, you have a right to have vows with Christ, and a trinity with love with a partner. And you know, that's how that kind of stuff is, all that's just being destroyed because the serpentine, you know, likes the sinful Jesus. So all I know is I have picked up on this. The spirit loves me here. Like, I just immediately get this, like, giggle inside me, this because I love it here. You know, and just personally, it breaks my heart that I can spend so much time praying, because only my purpose here, and I met another soldier here. Had called the cop, and the ambulance pick him up because he was homeless. He wasn't even getting this benefit. So I'm like, I was trying to convince him, like, hey, listen, you like need to seriously get your benefit. Don't be allowing these fucking Arabs to rob your ass. So I'm like, I guarantee you they fucking collect all kinds of benefits. You know, so I'm like, you know, I spent so much time here, but it has broken my heart because they have, Shelby Police has stalked me here. I've had them sit over here in the dealership while I'm here. So I know the Macomb County Sheriff is friends with the fucking Arabs here. These Arabs are very connected to the banquets and the limos, the naughty Jesus, basically. So, okay, Mama ain't about clubhouses. So all I know is God sees that I've spent hundreds of hours, not being nuts, hundreds of hours praying for peace. Because victims, soldiers, Americans, I'm German. You bitches killed our ass. Us kids just killed us all out. So I have to do my, Jesus, I confide in you, because I do confide in you, Jesus. We're in a crisis. This has to do with the violence against mothers, women, Christians. You know, we shouldn't have to be on the lefty sinful side, okay? Come over here to the righteous side of Jesus, because again, we're in America. Girls have a right to have their chastities. So I haven't quite got these guys stealing like the Albanians get to. I've learned that. You know, I listen to the stuff I learn. Sometimes it's through educators, sometimes it's through victims, but I'm like, God gives me that message for a reason, and I'm like, yeah, to pray upon it, peace upon it, because again, it goes back to my own self. I know I don't get peace in my change. The same thing with my niece. I'm like, you're not allowing peace within the change, because again, it doesn't fit their storyline of what they have created. And that's the same, that's what because that's what this right here, a new option for those in substance use crisis. You know, because I'm like, that Black Hawk Marine, as I sit out here and like the spirit loves me at Chaldean. It's just the Chaldeans don't love me. That's just the reality. The Arabs, they get to parade the LGBT into eternal hell. So I'm like, how convenient. You're over here as a gift. I'm literally, and I don't make my sexuality an issue with it. I don't even make myself an issue, period. I'm just a little spirit child that just likes to come in and, and talk to. I've spent hours and hours here at this grotto because it's praying all night. It burns the candle. Like I said, St. George, who has Islam also mixed in it, because that's how it goes when you start bleeding all kinds of fucking infrastructure projects like Lakeside and like aerospace and Boeing, and because that's the millions in CIA. Nigeria, so I'm like, Nigeria is a big one in Shelbyville, because it's literally sucking out millions of water, so I got attacked for preying on victims who have dealt with horrific crimes, some death, some dead. They're dead. And maybe the police or the system that's supposed to be protecting them, which is, Department of Human Health Services or Child Protective or Senior, even your elder protectors. Because this is, Unchained to Fred, he was robbed over 100,000, I think even more. I'm like, God always changed me to people. The whole point is I can't change their crimes, but what I'm changing is peace on their chains. It's not, God uses my chains for that purpose. I've always understood this. I spent many hours here. Like I said, hundreds of hours here at St. George. So God brought me here. So I'm like, terrorists. So I'm like, oh my God, you scare me. You men scare me here. Be nice to your wives. You hear me, St. Georgie boys? Arabs, you better understand. You're in America. You don't get to steal the chastity of any teenager. Okay, we don't listen. Whatever you heard, it was lies. It's an actual crime. Just because our sheriff department is choosing not. Okay, I'm over here. I'm not going to do the prayer next to, because they got cameras and stuff like that. So, and the spirit don't like me bringing that my energy can get, and then I can get on tantrums and stuff like that. And like I said, I don't do witchery. So that's not what I do. I do prayer. So, and I do understand voodoo and stuff. Not like I don't do voodoo, but I understand that because I talk about that as a social worker. I went through that. Not because I tagged that Haitian mom, but the system tagged the Haitian mom. So this is what the problem is. It's been like this with the department. That's what's suing the Air Force is Michigan Department of Human Health Services. I'm like, it's evil because they allow international companies to come in with the aerospace for these purposes. And it's kind of crazy because it was control panel. That was supposed to be a control panel right here. That was supposed to be a control panel. Now, that's going to have vertical rockets too. That will definitely not. I lived up there. I own a house. I sit there and, I died fixing that fucking house. I had paid hundreds of thousands for the damn house just to turn around and be stolen from me. Not because I couldn't pay for it or anything, but just because, again, that was Sheriff Scott Frank, who I didn't even know at the time, but he knew me. So I didn't even know these guys at the time. What I knew? I had to sell my house to get the fuck out of there because I had to worry about Stacy's clan. And so in my head, I'm seeing that now. Like, I've had so much fear. I'm like, you need to get your fucking words right. Because I've just had so much fear of my sister-in-law because she is someone a very bad, and I'm like, to find out that she's been on domestic violence shelters. She committed sexual acts. That's what happened when Dinesha got molested. She was part of those acts. And I'm like, just because Macomb gets to make fun of it, Shelby gets to make fun. This is what happens. I'm like, not only do they not do, I'm sure the man who, because it's bigger than just arresting someone. When that father got murdered, this was last year, a father here got murdered. and then that individual, and God knows where he was. What nationality was he? Pakistan? Was he Afghanistan? Was he African? What nationality? Because it doesn't have to be fucking Arab to be a rapist. This is a problem within our men. So, and it's becoming in the language, because I find it. So when I go to the different churches and stuff like that, I'm just in there for prayer, praying to the Spirit. Like, I already went to St. Michael's too. I spent a lot of times. It's the Catholic. God has been sending me, because he's like, they say, like, it's not just God, me talking to the Spirit. It's been nuns too have told me. It's just the fathers are usually not the ones. That's because the fathers are too busy being sinners. You as a victim should have the right to have your father, and Jesus was part of the healing of being raped, because the fact is you just don't understand. Most of your parents don't know the dialogue to talk to their children. It's too difficult. I know, me too. My daughter told me about Matthew Snyder, the same one that my mother gets to raise Dinesha with now, because why? She don't get to be Dinesha Love. Why? Because Shelby over here. These fucking cops can spy on me. They know my problem is, but they get to sit there and spy on me. It's Shelby's or lazy fucks on there. 2 police departments. So again, when that man killed that father and rapes the mother and the child, right? That does something. It causes spiritual warfare inside your system. And then it's not going to change, because Macomb County does all the training for Shelby, Sterling Heights, Utica, Chester. And we live like we're in the 1960s. You know who understands that? These countries who believe in raping women and children. That's who. They bring their cultures here, so that shit gets to come here. Again, God has sent me here to spend hundreds of hours, because St. George has it. George doesn't have the peace and the light because of their fathers. They have it because of all their mothers. All these women, particularly because women bring the peace. They bring that power into that prayer, and it's needed so much, or it's being lost. And mothers are being lost. They're being attacked. Their children are being attacked. They're trying to use the prayer. They don't even get the prayer. Because why? Well, it doesn't fit the dialogue of our communication words. And then you got serpents like Trump, who's over here. Same thing, their language. Because again, I see peace when I'm here. I see love. But I sat in there and I listened to those fathers after I have spent, it just breaks my heart. Because I'm like, I sit there listening to them, and they're like, praying. Now this is just one father. There's multiple fathers. But it's just this one. And he said it repeatedly too. He's like, homosexuals are equivalent to murderers. If you're homosexual, you will go into hell. So I'm just like, why would you put such ugly language and such a and see, I still see the Spirit, because that's what I'm saying. They don't create the Spirit. The Spirit is already created here. So, and I'm like, and then it's flowing through native land. So you got that too. So, but I'm like, the Spirit, it's evil. It's evil. Archdiocese in Detroit is doing the same shit. So that's what I'm saying. The Archdiocese, this is what I know from studying, going to different churches. Like, it definitely takes in Chaldean. I definitely see a lot of the Chaldean language. And the Chaldean language is mixed with Islam, and also mixed with a lot of Christian, but also making the importance of the Mary being a virgin. And that's really not as important, because Jesus already died, so he became the Spirit. So it's this whole resurrecting this Jerusalem and creating all their fucking stories everywhere. But at the end of the day, you know what God sees? We are murderers. That's what God. All the bombs say America. All the and that stuff has been going on, and it's over here. They got to be able to migrate over here, and just again. I gotta go light my candle, because Jesus, we confide in you. That's why it's important to understand, that Jesus is, he's a peace warrior. That's what he was. He's a healer. So I use them as a healer of the womb because it's so important, because your womb is destroyed when you lose your fucking chastity, because nasty ass adults like to rape teenagers. It's just gross. I got this thing. It's like a macho thing. Yeah, that's the gross thing about it. It's more of like a macho, gross thing. They just get the teenagers to fall in love with them. A lot of times you can pay teenagers to have sex. So like, that's just really a sad thing. You can pay just teenagers to have sex. So I'm like, and then, then you got these court cases and you got these judges. I don't know how the judges get to play different roles. So that's my point of that judge, of Christopher P. Martin, because he got to play that role of, he's a judge for custody cases and stuff like that, but then he allowed that rapist people like, see, I can spend hours here, seriously. Because it feels good. Oh, they're not gonna put candles up here anymore. Oh, look at that. So even though I hear them make horrible comments about LGBT and they're going to hell and all that shit, I'm like, whatever. I'm just used to it. I know down in Sterling Heights on St. Teresa's, I was there. They were talking about women need to bow down to the man. I'm like, again, we're in America. No, that's not the way it goes down. I think women are way more important than men are. So we are needed highly for peace, to bring peace in. Yeah, I think I put my candle over here. This thing doesn't work. I know, that's the only place they always worry about the candles eventually became dangerous. That's the only problem. It became dangerous. Oh, God. I'm missing. Most of my back. So, I know I'm missing, I keep saying it, I'm missing most of my back. I'm missing my fucking pelvis. It's full of fucking metal. And it does not stop these fucking Nazi-ass cops. So again, I haven't actually had any direct problems with St. George. Shelby Place. Yes, stalker asses. It's part of the clubhouse here, though. So, I mean, you have the right to have religious freedom. So, and I can talk about victims in the sake of how important it is for, peace to happen within sexual victims. It's not just sexual victims, it's violence in general. So, this place has a very high percentage of young adults. Like a lot. And it's because they have the spirit. So they shouldn't be talking about hate shit, talking about equivalent. I know I'm not equivalent. And my wife is over here who fought for Iraq. She was like a doctor, a major, and a soldier. Like, those are the ones that are saying she's equivalent to murderer. I don't think so. It's the same thing with that other Marine I saw that was here homeless. Like, they don't have the right to say stuff like that. That's the one thing I would say, but it don't matter. They can say what they want. That's the way our new world is. I just, yes, I'm going to put on this one because it has all the Mother Guadalupe. Mother Guadalupe! Down there in Mexico. That's the Virgin Mary of Mexico, which is needed because, Trump has all Venezuela down there. All the Marines down there. You got Marines, like I said, I know we had them. Well, my cousin, not my cousin, but my nephew, Thorson, he was Army, I think. But he got out, but then went in as a merchant over in Ukraine, and he was a soldier killing Russians. So, because that's what America is doing. They got merchants over in Israel and freaking Ukraine. That's why I'm praying for peace. This one doesn't even work. Oh, it's so cold. Ah, that one works. It's cold, it's cold. Oh, merciful, so finish this. Jesus, I confide in you. This is the one from the Walmart on 23, because like I said, a woman was raped out in the parking lot of that Walmart on 23 in Shelby. So again, that's why I'm like kind of like, and again, I'm connected to it because it has to do with my niece's case in 2020 was sent to Shelby. So Shelby Police has told me that this is not a case because they have they're not I don't know. The cops here are very evil. You don't have a right as a mother to advocate for cases, and now I'm definitely not going to advocate for it because she's already here. So she's already here. My mom gets to use my brother to intervene with my niece's phone. So just because, we've gotten to be like, and that's why I'm so adamant against it, because you got countries here that do allow rape to happen to children. See, America is supposed to be against that shit. But I don't know. We're just intertwined. It's our sheriff department. That's who I blame. I'm not blaming St. George. I'm here praying for the victims. Like I've done hundreds of, I don't know, it's probably not hundreds. So it's got to be at least 100. So it probably is at least a couple 100 hours I spent here at St. George praying for peace. So on sexual victims, because at the end of the day, they have peace here. So that's the spirit, and the spirit will follow me. And then I go down John Hall, because if you keep following down John Hall Highway, right, it'll eventually lead you to the deportation prison, which again, I've spent so much time. Look, this candle's not going to light now. These candles are a pain in the ass. Okay. Finish my prayer if this stays lit. Oh, merciful Jesus, whose kindness is indefinite and whose treasure of compassion is inexhaustible, I trust indefinitely in your mercy, which supersedes all your works. I consecrate myself externally to you so that I may live underneath the rays of your love and mercy, which radiate from your sacred heart, and corporal works of mercy, especially converting sinners. And counseling and sick and afflicted, and helping the poor. You will protect me as your property and your glory. I fear my weakness and trust in your great mercy, and all your humanity, weakness and trust in your great mercy. Well, that's why I get the candles at Walmart, because, it's been able to traffic humans. So, it's just an epidemic. So, eventually, Walmart employees, I'm sure, will be all robots. So, I'm like, but I am praying on that. That Walmart, and it's all dark. You'll see how it's not lit up, the parking lot. So, that's why I talk about Shelby Police Department, knowing that they've had these incidents of rapes. Don't turn around and make sure the businesses have to wear lights and stuff like that. And quit the truckers from using their parking lot. That Walmart has, yeah. Prayer to the Rosary. Yes. 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 See, that's a big one. I learned most about that is because that Hilton on Hall Road in Hayes, because it matters, because it's across the street from that gas station owned by the Sicilians. So, because again, I'm just tired of America being drugged by alcohol. And, the Sicilian hire the Arabs. But again, they're attached to the lakeside. Selfridge gets to come into the old St. Clair. Meanwhile, we get to, it's a very evil system. How to pray to the Rosary. Oh, I don't have my rosary on. I became a rosary on my neck. And it was gifted to me when I learned about how I'm attached to St. Francis. So, that's when I learned that I was Catholic. That's from St. Francis. It's great. That's how it goes. Yeah. It's lovely. Prayer qualifications and how to pray the Rosary. Scriptures. I could stay there all night. I really could, because I love being on this. I immediately, it's like being, when I'm not in fear, it's like being on my grandpa's land, because I start going back, because when, in spirit. So, because when you're an adult, you're a soul. So, and when you die, luckily, if you're lucky, you become spirit. You go in soul, like you pass over in spirit. So it's usually your younger self. So because then you're probably going to be, especially if you die, if you're like, I think it depends, because some people have great adulthood, but my body is in horrible pain. So to me, this is what I've learned to do, partially because I am educated. I was, but also because I learned to do it with my wife by just doing this transfer. I kind of always just said that because my dad was able to transfer. So he was a reborn Christian. So because I married Christ in 2022. So I've been a bride to Christ since 2022. And the purpose of that was to protect my womb. So Jesus has got all kinds of jokes though, because I'm with Fred, and Fred is unable. The thing is, I don't see Fred like as the 84-year-old man. I see him somewhere, not as his youth self, because when he dies, he'll die over in his inner child. Won't be his childhood, but he's going to be like a soldier. All right, I mean, I spent enough time to know what what's God's plans for. I don't know how that will look, but I just know because God is passing soldiers over. So we're at war. That's why these bases are so important. So when I talk about this lineage and how I talk about how, how certain people won't be really all that, they're not all that, important to God, because there's a lot of people who are just very sinful. And like Trump is one of these people. He's just very simple person. So when I talk about putting them, when we're thinking about when I'm sitting over here in Middle East America, because that's what Shelby is, Middle East America. So, and they brought their traditions here. So I'm like, and then we already had the Italians here already raping American girls. I'm just over here as mother advocate. So it's not going to end. Now I got to have my daughter here. Oh, excuse me, my niece. So she doesn't get to be my daughter. So I don't even, and my mother, who was the key witness to my brother, for the first degree assault charge that was charged against him by Macomb County in 2022 or 2020, the same year our adoption case was. So I mean, I talk about this because I have to live in constant fucking fear in Macomb because of the sheriff department, and it happens to deal with Sterling Heights Police Department because I'm petrified of those clans up there. Shelby Police Department because I'm petrified of those clans. And even Chesterfield. I mean, Chesterfield hacked my fucking phone. I'm still out here praying at St. George. I mean, that's all you get to do as a victim. And I had to do it, and knowing that this beautiful house of worship is praying me into eternal hell, including my partner who fought for the fucking freedom, for Iraqi freedom. But this is what that blood gets to do. That's this. The sheriff gets to side with this kind of damn blood too. So I'm just saying that's just what gets to happen. This is a house of peace. I would never want to, bring. I was just witness. I just get to be witness to shit, but it doesn't matter. My voice doesn't matter, like they tell me. So they've been able to rip me off as like the crimes that my brother committed are lies. I'm just like, all this is really, and I do see it now, this is really all just to cover up the crimes, the fact that State Trooper Trevor would have never been killed. Like, these actions would have never even happened if Michigan would have done their job in the first place. Because I'm like, this goes back to 2015. So I'm like, they purposely, they intend, they whatever the words to say, they gave her protection because again, she robbed with him, but it was also more than that. It was for the hate stuff, the KKK stuff. Because, and this is also why they didn't want to investigate him either. Because the more they investigated him, the more would have changed the fact that Michigan, it's not like they did the bullet, that killed Trooper, but State Trooper Trevor Casper. But what they did is they started the hunt. And they were doing the hunt. And when you're being hunted by these clan fuckers. I hate it. Because you get your anxiety, it gets you burning. Like, that's what my son, when he starts, I don't know if because he's off with the natives. So, like, and then you lie. Like, you hear him talking like, I'm fair, you're just trying to slave me. I'm just trying to get him to get a job. Because I'm like, I think that's causing, I believe my son should be with his father, his Marine father. No, his Marine father's still being a Marine. And he's like, no, you are an adult. You're not going to, and I'm not doing that to my son. But I'm like, I just think Michigan already killed my son. I don't think I know this. Like, they already killed my son. I dealt with this when he was actually in high school. Like, so again, my son should be with his father. But, this is what they do to our Marines. They teach them not to be men. I'm like, that's just how, like he gets to be a mentor for others, but in the end, he wasn't that. And now I do agree, my son is an adult. He can't force. I'm just like, I don't have the answers for him because I don't necessarily blame his, I don't have hate for nothing. I just want help. I don't want to lose my fucking son again. Oh, I love it here. It's just sometimes I just, it's like, I can't explain it. Even though I'm afraid of these fucking Arabs here, I feel safe. So it's just like the same thing with Fred. It's like, they purposely stripped me fucking naked. I've been coming here to St. George and pray in peace for like so long now. And I get violence. Not only do I get violence, but like I said, they get to pray homosexuals. It's the whole, they'll never be able to pray me into eternal hell. It's just the whole principle. It's the principle behind what the Spirit and God is seeing. Because that's what you have. You have the Holy Spirit and you got the Holy Ghost. And you got a whole lot of trap victims in between. For entertainment and sports. And then you see the documentaries, they talk about it as Saudi Arabia because they bought into so much. All I know is, even when it comes to Saudi prime ministers, like, I would never go, like, like, I would never date someone in a dress, that wore a dress. I would never date Arabs. I am afraid of Arabs. So no Arabs have actually done anything to me, but I'm like, I don't know. The fear is because they haven't done that. It's just I see soldiers here. So when it comes to here, particularly, and then like I said, it comes down to that gas station. Is that gas station, but also the Hilton Garden there. Because I'm like, it's how he runs that business. I work there, but he makes more money off his alcohol sales. So it's the thinking mentality. And I'm like, yeah, they don't have a problem fucking crimes. I witnessed a hate crime happening to a lesbian couple at that hotel. And it was the manager and employee, but like I told Anthony, that is the boss there. He said, my family, my. That's what I hear from these fucking Arabs. And I'm like, excuse me, you have to follow labor laws. No different than Ukraine's there, smoking and freaking ding on, making food and stuff. I'm like, I can't report anything, so I'm not even allowed to use 911. So I'm like, it's not, it's a violation. It's like, how do you explain how this Nazism system violates your First Amendment rights? Oh, I don't know. I'm still over here praying for my son because that's what I'm dealing with right now. I'm like, fucking, my son's out there having a mental crisis, and unfortunately, I know that's why I say black ain't it. Definitely ain't it. He literally said he couldn't be, and that had to do with oh God, I'm just like, what the fucking hell? It's raining. Now he's gonna be out there in the rain. This is my son. I don't see it. I see it. Looks like it's raining, but I don't see it. I guess it is. Oh, it's so evil what they've done. Alright, let me call a friend. Alright, spirit. Keep this mama safe. Bring my son home. He needs help. He's not gonna get it here. You don't get fucking help here. They drug you with anti-seizure medicines. Fucking sick asses here. So I'm like, and this is our veterans too. So fucking Middle East America could be over here with fucking Star David, and Chaldeans are also sucking the nuts of fucking Star David. So just like down there, the Lutherans, like just what happens to women. Again, that's where we're in America. Let's just keep it Madonna. American pride, amen.